How will you measure and evaluate the progress of your project in ways that are relevant and meaningful for both the project or program as well as for the grantor? And how are you going to talk about this in a grant application? When it comes to evaluating projects or programs, evaluating success or impact, it is not enough to just promise your outcomes. You need a well-defined plan. You need resources. You need the understanding of how to measure, when to measure, and what progress you're actually measuring. In this video, I'm going to cover 3 ways to address this in your grant application specifically. My name is Benjamin Dean from grantgetting.com. I hope that you enjoy this video and others like it on the channel that are aimed at helping you get more grants. Be sure to check out the link in the description, which has 10 proven methods for this particular topic. Let's jump in. So the first thing is to have clear and measurable goals. Your goals from the start being not measurable or not specific, or something that's unrealistic, it's not achievable or irrelevant, or nothing to do with time. This is the SMART acronym. They are going to make it impossible or very, very difficult for you to follow up. So the reality is that if you put forth a goal in a grant application that is not following this format of a SMART goal, it doesn't mean you're going to have a red flag and you're not going to get that grant. Okay. Many funders are not at that level of sophistication to say, you gave us a goal without, without, it really being achievable. They might just like the goal and say, that's a great goal. We're going to fund that. Right. The problem with that will not be that you got the grant. The problem will be that you will have to report on that. Okay. So if you define your goals in a way that you can't really report on them, you can't really track them, you can't really evaluate your program or your progress in a way to say you're getting closer to that goal, then you're going to have issues in your reporting, and you're going to find yourself trying to steer the narrative in your reports away from the direct metrics that you said that you were going to produce. And that's not a good feeling. Okay. And so additionally, what that's going to do is you're going to start to lose trust with that funder. Remember, your goal as a grant writer isn't to just get a grant. Your goal is to support an organization. Now, how supportive is it to an organization if you set yourself up for a one and done funding relationship where now you have this awkward relationship of you kind of didn't really do what you said you were going to do. You've kind of lost trust between you and this funder. That's not very positive. That's not something you really want to do for a nonprofit organization, whether you're a freelancer or not. You need to have a measurable, very specific, very measurable goal that you have talked with your program management team. You understand how you're going to track for this, and you feel that this is attainable. You're looking at actual data. You're not using magical thinking. You're not guessing. You're saying with some degree of a percentage of your left brain that this is achievable. We can actually do this, and here's how we're going to measure this. Okay, that is number one, and that's probably the most important thing when it comes to, how you're going to evaluate the progress. If you have a SMART goal, the process of measuring and evaluating is exponentially easier. You need far less sophistication to be able to do that. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So then number 2, you're selecting the right metrics. Okay. Not all metrics are suitable for every project. For instance, if you're running a literacy program, you could measure success by tracking reading level improvements. But in a mentorship program, you might focus on more qualitative outcomes like a partner satisfaction or something like that. So the metrics within your goals, or like the thing that you are going to be measuring, the metric, they need to align with your project's focus, your project objectives, with other elements of the tracking of the progress of the project. The closer these things are together, the easier it is to collect. You don't want to have this spattering of different things that are all supposed to be one program, because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to be having multiple surveys. You're going to have too many cooks in the kitchen from different departments. You got information you need from volunteers over here, information from clients, impact data that you need to have downstream. So you're looking at previous clients. It can get very, very messy and stressful for your program team or you if this will end up being your responsibility. So funders want to see that your measurement strategy is directly linked to your intended outcomes and impacts. If they are too dissimilar, that's not a very cohesive, plan. And any level of sophisticated funder is going to see that, and they're going to, if not mark you down on the rubric, they're going to be taking a critical eye towards you during the reporting periods. And that is absolutely something you don't want, whether you have the data to back it up or not. You don't want people giving you a stink eye when they're asking you for your reports. You want them to have confidence that you have already done this, and the report should be no problem. Okay, so that's number 2, is the right metrics. Number 3, as it relates to preparing for evaluation and measurement in your grant application, this point is timeline. The third piece of the puzzle really is your evaluation timeline. Funders don't just want to see how you'll evaluate success at the end. They want to know how you're going to be tracking progress along the way. And if they don't want to know that, per se, they will appreciate knowing that you have thought about it. So you want to break your project down into milestones. Milestones is a key to many grant applications, that they will actually ask you for your milestones. But even if you don't have this as a required deliverable, this should be part of your project plan. You should always have milestones and check-ins and interventions and surveys and meetings with your team to, if nothing else, just to say, how is this going, right? At predefined time periods throughout the year. If you don't do this, you will not have the feedback loop to be able to improve your program. Organizationally, having a weekly meeting with your team is kind of a good strategy to do this. If you have a weekly, hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, whatever it is, meeting with your team every single week at the same time, and depending on what time of year it is or how close you are to particular milestones, you could just plug those things into the calendar, into the reminder of that particular meeting. You're going to be talking about this grant, this milestone, this program, these evaluation surveys that just came back. You always have a landing spot for your team to come together and know what's going on. Okay, this is also particularly important for the integration between your grant writing function and your program design function. So for example, if you're implementing a new school program, scheduling regular check-ins every quarter outside of these weekly meetings can be done to evaluate student engagement and student achievement. If you have a 12-month program and you're meeting anything less than quarterly, you need to consider why. And maybe there's a good reason why, but you really need to think about it. If you're going longer than 3 months in a 12-month program without having some degree of check-in on progress towards your goals, how you're doing, relative to the metrics that you've chosen, you're setting yourself up for maybe not such a fun time, 9 months from now. Okay, so that's how you as a grant writer can help your program team. You can say, we are applying for this grant. Here are the things that we need to know are the case. Do you have availability during these windows to review this process? Great. Do we have an implementation plan for surveying at the first month, the 7th month, and the 11th month? Something like that, so that we can track this progress. Do you have your subscription for the surveying software? Great. You just have your checklist. Everything's in place. Do you understand what we're doing? Are there any other surveys that need to go out during this time? Do we need to integrate those together so that we have fewer asks to our volunteers or our clients? These sort of things, a grant writer can help a program team get organized. Okay, this is from the grant writer perspective. This video and most of these videos are not about program management, but there's a big tie between them, as you see. So just think about that and think about how you as a grant writer or you in the grant writing function can assist with this process. Okay, so down below there is a free download on 10 proven strategies to measure and evaluate your grant project. Check that out below. If you have any questions about measurement and evaluation, even on the program side, not just the grant writing side, pop those in the comments. I'd love to help there. And that's it. Thank you so much for jumping in on this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.